Hello grade 11, we're going to do a more difficult program now, and that's going to involve parallel arrays again, but this time we're going to search inside, and the other difficult part, we're going to search in the arrays, we're going to do searching, and we're also going to have two different arrays which have different data types, but they will be parallel. So first of all, the other difficult thing is we're going to read from a text file into two arrays. Now, it's all about athletics meetings, and we have, prizes award athletes according to points obtained. User must be able to enter a range of points, and the program will display all athletes. So this is a user interface. We're going to put points between that and display all the athletes that obtain those points. The other thing is we have to read the data from the text file called athletes.txt, make provision for 870 names, So a maximum of 870. The names are going to be read into a text file, but the points are going to be read into a different text file. Because the text file, the different array, two arrays. Let's go to the text file and then we'll see. Okay, as you can see, there's the text file. There's a name, a surname, and initials, and then a space, and then the number of points. And we don't know how many lines there are. There are many lines in this text file. We're not going to count them, no. We'll have a count in our program to count them each time we read a line. So we're going to read from the text file, and each line we are going to separate the name from the points and put those into two different arrays. Now, of course, the point's going to have to go to an integer array, the name is going to a string array. So we declare two global arrays because we're going to use it over here in the display button as well as in the onActivate. So on activate event, we'll read from the text file. And this is quite normal. So in the onActivate event, we have to go and get ready to read from a text file, which we know already how to do. Marfile, text file, and S-line or S1 line, whatever we want to call it. We need a string and a text file variable. We're not going to test if the text file exists. I know you know how to do that. So we will just go and assign file, marfile, and the name of the text file is called athletes.txt. .txt. Spelling in uppercase. Now we're going to read. So we're going to put the text file into reset mode. And then we use a while loop. And we'll have begin and end here. And then readln marfile into S-line. Now what will S-line look like? Well, there's S-line. The first line will look like that. So that is the first line of the text file, and S-line is going to look like this. S-line will be this whole thing. We've got to copy from there all the way to number 9 in this case, but it will be the position of the space -1. Okay, so this is string handling happening. We're going to copy all of this into an array, but we also have to have a counter, because when you read from the text file, we'll have our counter. We have to have a counter. Now that counter is going to be our global variable that will count how many boxes are inside the parallel arrays. We have not declared this counter yet. We have not declared our variables, our arrays yet. So let's go and declare them quickly. As I said, we can either do it here or over here. So I'm going to just do it here. ARR names, colon, array. Oops. 1, 2, let's say how many must we have? 870. Our string, and then we have another array called ARR points, Are these points that they're earning? Yep, there are points. ARR points, colon array 1 to 870, but this time of integers. So they are still parallel arrays, but one is a string array and the other one is integer array. And then we have our count being our counter for both of them. Okay, now obviously you know that we can use max here and declare max as a constant at the top of our program right here. Constant max equals 870. Okay, so there I've just used it there. Right, so we're now going to do our on activate event. Now we can do it. We can increment our count and then we say ARR names square brackets our count. We have to copy from S line. Remember, we're now going to copy from S line from the first. Then we want to copy those just before the space. Okay, just like that. We're going to copy all of that into our array box number our count. Starting at 1, number of characters will be the position of the space in S line minus 1. That will be the number of characters that we are copying. Okay, you might remember this from string handling. And if you don't memorize it again, you'll be using this in grade 12 as well, obviously. So we're copying from S line, starting at position number 1, and the number of characters is the position of the space minus 1. And if you look at this diagram here, you'll see position of space here is 10, 10 minus 1 is 9. So we're copying all of that. And now we are going to delete it. And we'll be left with 471. We'll be left with 471 after we've deleted all of this. So S line will then be that. So we've got to delete it now. And the reason why we're deleting is it's easier. Because we can delete anything from S line. We're not going to use it again. We've got it safe. We've got the name safe into AR names. So let's go and delete from S line. How do we delete? We have the name, just like copy. What I normally do is I just copy and paste, excuse the pun. Copying and pasting there. So we're deleting from 1 to the position of the space. Because we don't want the space, eh? We're deleting from 1, and the number of characters starting at 1, and the number of characters we're deleting are the position of the space, is the position of the space, which is 10 in this case here, and then we'll be left with the last number of characters in that string. But it's a string, so we have to convert it before we go and put it into ARR points, square brackets our count, remember, equals string to int S line. There it is. So now we've read them all into ARR names and ARR points. And that is that code done. Right, next thing that we have to do. So we read it into the array. Now what? Well, now we have to go and search through the array to find athletes with points between those two. And if you want to make sure that you've got all of your items in the array, you can go and display the two arrays. Let's go and do that just for fun. We'll get a for loop counter. Remember, if you're going to go through every single box of the array, use a for loop. For k equals 1 to r count do. We're going to go and display in red. This is already out. .lines, .add, ARR names, box number k, plus we will have to go and put in int to string, because ARR points is an integer array. They are parallel, but it's still an integer array. And there we have displayed it. Okay, so let's go and run the program, see if it Okay, box number K. I'm glad I made the mistake because we have to remember when you refer to items in an array, you've got to use square brackets and the index number or box number as you want to call it. Right, run the program. On activate event is doing all of that. Oops, access violation. Now, over there it says an access violation. Run program reset. Let's go and look at our text file because that is probably going to be. I don't see anything. I'm going to go right to the end and make sure we do have 870 names. It could be that there are more, and therefore 878 names. So the book told us the wrong thing, so we're going to have to go and change this to 900. Max is now, or make it 1,000 to be on the safe side, eh? Well, I've just read there's 878 lines and they told us to have 870 lines. So anyway, we've sorted that one out. Let's go run the program quickly. Run, baby, run. Okay, there we go. Quite a lot of lines. Obviously the hash 9 is obviously not formatted nicely, so we haven't formatted the rich edit, so that's why the shorter. So everything's red and there's quite a lot of lines there. We could put them all in alphabetical order too, like we did in the previous activity. We're not going to waste time on that now. You can do that on your own, just for fun. We're now going to do the display button, the difficult part where you have to find a range between that and that. And I'm not going to check if there's integers in here because we haven't got time for that now. We're going to just go and read it as though people have typed in the right numbers there, EDT low and EDT high. So we're going to get those numbers from the edit boxes, var R low and R high, integers, and I'll say R low equals string to int, EDT low dot text, get our input, and R high, we'll worry about how to do the rest just now. R high equals string to int EDT high dot text. Now that's our range from R low. Now are we going to include R low and R high? Yes, I think we are. Points in the range, so we're going to include that, so it's greater than equal to R low and greater than and less than and equal to R high. All right. Now we are going to go through every single box of the array this time as well. So I'm going to use a for loop because I'm going to go through each box. Why am I going to go through each one? Because we have to display the names of all the people that are in the range from R high to R low. I mean R low to R high. So we have to go through every box. We're not going to stop when we find one. We're going to go through each one and then we display the name. Now remember, we're going to have parallel arrays just like the previous activity. So I'm going to first go and check, we're going to go through and check the points. If ARR points, square brackets K, is greater than or equal to R low, and, why am I saying and? ARR points, great, square box number K, if it's less than or equal to R high. So there we have two conditions. So we're checking AR points, okay, if they're in that range, and that and is important. You can't have all there because then you'll have all the points. Because if it's greater, if R low is 10, then it'll be everything above 10, and if R high is 20, it'll be everything below 20, even the negative numbers. So we have to have and there so that we stipulate a range, and then we will display the name of the person in red out dot lines dot add ARR names square brackets K, and that is it. Easy. Of course I must clear my rich edit yeah, I'll clear my rich edit there quickly. There we go. So let's run the program, and there's the names, and I'm going to put in some points here. Let's say 500 to 600 and display. Well, there's a lot of names in there. I'd actually want to get something more realistic so we can see. We have 800 and 900. Let's say 950 to, let's say 900 to 910. Let's go and put some different numbers in. 900 to 910. And there you have it. Those are the ones from 900 to 910. So there's all the names of the people. You can also go and sort the arrays at the same time. Do lots of things. But we're not going to do that now. We know how to sort parallel arrays from the previous activity. Just one other thing I want to show you. What if you want to find one person's name? To find out what their points are. Just one person. Okay, so let's go and put here, find one person. I'm putting a button here, find one person. Okay, so we'll get the name of the person here in an input box, just to make it simple. His name equals input box, enter name. Okay, now we're going to go through the loop, and you want to stop when you find the person's name, because there's only going to be one person's name. They're all individual names. There's no duplicate names here, not that I know of, but I'm sure there aren't. No, they're not. They're all individual names. Okay, so if I want to find, say, Chipu, PP, Chipu, or no, let's say R Chalk. Okay, we're going to find R Chalk. Okay, so to find that, we have to have a while loop, because we want to stop when we find it. So we'll have a Boolean variable which will stop searching, because remember there's 1,000, there's like 870. You want the processor to do extra work. So I set my Boolean variable to false, and now I want to actually go through the loop, go through the array while b found is false. But if I'm using a while loop, I've got to have a counter to go through one box at a time. Okay, so I'm going to call it rnum, and I'm going to start at rnum equal to 0, and inside the loop I will increment rnum before I go and look in the array. So rnum is going to be our index number, and we want to go through the array until, if we don't find a match, then rnum basically will be equal to our count, won't it? So while b found is false and rnum is less than our count, okay, we'll increment rnum, and then we go and see if arr names square brackets rnum is equal to s name, then we're going to set b found equals to true, and maybe you want to display in the rich edit the number of points. Well, if b found is true, well, we want to have rnum displayed. Okay, so let's go and display the points. Red out dot lines dot add into string arr points square brackets rnum. It'll be the corresponding points in the array called points. So we're going to display the name of we're going to display the points for that particular person that we found. So that's what we want. We want to find we're going to search through the whole array. Okay, imagine that this text file is the array. Going to search through each one. When you come to R chalk, there he is. Then we're going to display 476. We're going to stop when we get that one, because you don't want to go, this is line 25, you don't want to go all the way to 878. The process is going to do too much work. So we have to stop the while loop when we find the match of names in AR names. So that is what you need. You need a Boolean variable and a counter to go through the array, and you have two conditions for going using a while loop. This b found is false means if b found is true, the loop will stop. But if you don't find a match, then inum will get to the value of our count, because think about it, if inum is 0, okay, increment 1. So if inum is 1 less than our count, it will still go through, but if inum equals our count, then it will stop. So the loop will stop, go right through to all the boxes. That is going to go through every single box, inum less than our count. So you need those two things. What if we don't find a match? Well, then b found will never be true. So we ask a question here, if b found equals false still after all of that, which means that the loop stopped when we reached the end using that condition there. If b found is false, then we'll show a message that the name was not found. Not found. Okay, there we go. But over here, when we find the name, we want to display the points for that person's name in the corresponding parallel array, AR points, box number inum. So increment inum, that's going through the array. Okay, first box, if that equals name, no, then it'll go until it finds it. If it's box number 24, if inum is 24, and we find it, okay, it is a match, then we'll display box number 24 of AR points. Okay, so let's go and quickly do that. Why do I have a colon? Right, let's find one person. I said I was going to find chalk R. Oops, chalk comma R. Okay. 476, there it is at the bottom. That's right, so that's fine. I should have cleared the rich edit there. What if you want to find a name that's not there? Joe. Doe. Name not found. So you see, it went through the whole array. Okay, so you go and practice that, and I will see you tomorrow.